Welcome to Once Upon a Bedtime, where dreams begin with stories, and stories end with a smile. Close your eyes, little dreamer. The wind is quiet tonight, and there's a girl walking softly through the trees. Chapter 1. Wren and the Whispering Forest. Wren did not leave home on a grand quest. She did not pack a sword. She did not make a map. She did not even tell anyone where she was going. She simply woke up one morning with the kind of feeling that hums in your bones like a low violin note, a quiet pull, a whisper without words. The village was still tucked in the fog of early dawn, the rooftops draped in dew like silver shawls. Chickens stirred. Someone's kettle began to whistle in the distance. Wren stepped out barefoot into the moss, holding only a small pendant and a half-remembered dream. Chew inside the pendant, a faded photograph of a woman who smiled like spring rain. Her mother, or the memory of her. Wren couldn't quite be sure anymore. She walked north, past the fields, where the scarecrows didn't bother scaring anymore, through the sleepy wood that locals said was just for mushrooms and mushrooms only, and then further, until the trees no longer looked like they belonged in any ordinary forest. Pier, the bark, was the color of dusk bluish silver, textured like velvet and old secrets. The leaves shimmered like polished glass, catching light that didn't seem to come from the sun. The air was soft, but heavy, as though time walked slower here. Wren took a breath, and the trees exhaled back. "Well, that's new," she murmured, brushing a silver leaf with her fingertips. The leaf shivered like it was ticklish. She walked deeper. With each step, she felt lighter. Not in body, presence. As if the deeper she went, the more the world forgot about things like clocks and chores and milk deliveries. As if the trees didn't care how many years old you were, or what you believed in. They just were. And now, so was she. She passed a hollow stump filled with glowing beetles, a moss-furred rock that hummed when she sat on it. At one point, she thought she heard someone humming a tune she didn't know, but recognized. It wasn't frightening. It was familiar. Close your eyes for a moment, little dreamer. Can you hear the forest breathing? She wasn't sure how long she walked before she saw the first mirror. It hung from a branch like Fruiton oval mirror, framed in vines, spinning slowly in the soft breeze. It didn't reflect the trees behind it. It reflected her, but not quite. This version of Wren had shorter hair. She was younger, no more than 8 or 9. Ooh. She was laughing, though Wren couldn't remember why. She touched the glass, and the reflection touched it back. Wren took a step back. "I don't remember this," she said aloud. The mirror shimmered. For a moment it looked like the younger Wren winked. She moved on, finding another mirror, this one flat like a sheet of water, laid between the roots of a tree. This Wren was wearing a crown of thorns and smiling like she'd just won an argument. Her eyes glowed gold. Another, this one showed Wren in a red coat with a silver staff, standing at the bow of a ship made of clouds. Her face was older. There was a scar on her cheek. She looked tired and strong. "Who are you?" Wren whispered. mirrors didn't answer, but they never stopped watching it. At some point, Wren found a clearing, soft with moss. She sat down beside a tree that looked especially old. Its bark split and wrinkled like the hands of a grandmother. Above her, the mirrors hung from its branches. None of them reflected her. One showed a field of fireflies, another a woman weeping beside a cradle, another a little house made of books, the last night sky with no stars. Wren clutched her pendant and laid back in the moss. The mirrors spun above her like quiet constellations. "Why am I here?" she asked the forest. And the forest, with great gentleness, whispered back with a breeze that smelled like rain and stone and lavender. "You already know." She dreamed that night beneath the mirror tree. In her dream, she saw her mother not as a face, but as a voice, humming, threading stars into her hair, telling her something she forgot the moment she awoke, but she remembered the sound. A lullaby without words. Take a slow breath. Now, listener. The forest is only beginning to open its heart. In the next chapter, Wren will follow the path of her reflections, some kind, some strange, and some not entirely honest. Chapter 2. The Grove of Reflections. Wren's footsteps barely whispered on the mossy earth as she stepped deeper into the grove. Two trees towered above her, their trunks braided with golden veins that pulsed gently, like the slow, steady beat of an ancient heart. Light, the light that filtered through the leaves, was soft, but stranger twilight glow that seemed neither warm nor cold. Birth, perfectly balanced, like a secret held just out of reach. The air smelled of damp earth, wild herbs, and something faintly metallic like old coins, hidden in forgotten pockets. With every breath, Wren felt a subtle vibration, as if the forest itself were humming beneath her skin. Around her, dozens of mirrors floated between the trees. Some were tall enough to step through, others small and delicate, each suspended in midair without any visible support. They rotated slowly, turning as if breathing in rhythm with the grove itself. Wren's eyes widened as she studied the images within. None reflected the forest around her. Instead, each mirror held a scene, a flicker of a life, a memory, a possibility. One mirror showed a boy with wide owl's wings, his laughter silent as he chased a shadow that darted just beyond his reach. Another captured a woman with no mouth, tracing shimmering stars in the air with delicate fingers. Her eyes, deep pools of midnight, filled with quiet sorrow. Wren reached out hesitantly toward a mirror shaped like an oval, rimmed in twisting vines that looked almost alive. As her fingers brushed its surface, a shiver ran through her arm. Inside, she saw herself but younger, with short, messy hair and bright, curious eyes. She was holding the hand of a girl wearing a strange uniform and clutching a flute carved from bone. They smiled at each other like old friends, reunited after a long absence. "Who are you?" Wren whispered, breath catching in her throat. The girl in the mirror lifted the flute and played a single, haunting note that seemed to ripple through the very air. wrapping around Wren's chest like a warm embrace. Then, abruptly, the mirror darkened, the image fading as if swallowed by shadows. A voice spoke from behind the mirrors, low and clear. "You're asking the wrong question." Wren spun around. Between two braided trees stepped a tall woman, cloaked in shimmering fabric that shifted colors like oil on water. Her hair floated gently, untouched by wind, and her eyes were mirrored stones, reflecting everything around her but revealing nothing. "You shouldn't be here yet," the woman said softly, though there was steel beneath her tone. "Why not?" Wren asked, steadying herself. Because the grove of reflections doesn't show you who you are." The woman replied, "It shows you who you might become, and some futures are heavier than you think." "I didn't choose to come." Here the woman tilted her head. "Considering, didn't you? Most avoid their reflections until they can't anymore. But you walked right in." Wren's fingers clenched her pendant. "Do you live here?" "No one lives in the grove," the woman said. "We remember, then we leave, or forget and stay." She plucked a small mirror from the air, its surface cold and smooth like polished glass, and handed it to Wren. Inside, Wren saw a door carved into the side of a mountain, herself reaching for the handle. "This one's yours," the woman said. "You'll need it when the time comes." "What's behind the door?" Wren asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "That depends. Do you remember how the dream ends?" Wren shook her head, uncertainty curling in her stomach. "Then keep walking," the woman said, stepping back into the shadows, dissolving like mist. Alone. Again. Wren turned her gaze to the other mirrors. They shimmered and shifted, showing scenes of possibility. One revealed her walking a tightrope made of thorns, stretched over a dark abyss, balancing with breath held and heart pounding. Another showed her kneeling in a circle of wolves, their eyes gleaming sapphire beneath the twilight sky. A third mirror captured her writing strange, glowing symbols in a language unknown to her waking mind. Wren reached out, touching a mirror that rippled like water. A cold sensation spread up her arm, filling her with both fear and wonder. She pulled back, heart racing. Sitting on a flat stone near the grove's heart, she clutched the small mirror tight, feeling the weight of what she'd seen and what she'd yet to face. The forest whispered around her, the light pulsing softly, as if waiting. For a long moment, she imagined every version of herself. The brave, the lost, the fierce, the afraid, turning to look back. And then, with a slow breath, Wren stood, stepping forward deeper into the unknown, ready to meet whatever lay ahead. Chapter 3. The River That Forgets. The path out of the grove of reflections twisted unexpectedly, as if the forest itself reshaped the world behind Wren's back. The golden-veined trees gave way to dense thickets, dripping with dew, and somewhere nearby, water murmured faintly soft as a secret. Wren's steps slowed, her eyes drawn to the faint glimmer of a river weaving through the tangled brush. This was no ordinary river. Its surface was perfectly still, yet oddly ... blank. No reflection shimmered on its glassy face. The sky, the trees, even Wren herself, none appeared upon the water's surface. She knelt at the edge, fingertips just brushing the cool, dark flow. A shiver skated down her spine. "The river that forgets," she whispered, recalling an old tale she'd half remembered. A story of waters that swallow memories whole. As the water rippled softly beneath her touch, a voice called out behind her a light, amused tone that felt like the rustling leaves. "Curious, aren't you?" Wren turned to find a slender man with clockwork eyes, gleaming beneath a tangle of silver hair. His clothes were a patchwork of fabrics and gears, stitched together with threads of time itself. "I'm called Corin," he said, bowing with a flourish. "Keeper of moments lost and found." Wren eyed him cautiously. "Why does the river not reflect?" Corin smiled, revealing teeth that glinted like polished brass. "Because it remembers nothing. It forgets everything. Past, the present, even the future, all swallowed by these waters, leaving only the emptiness." "But why would a river forget?" Wren asked, kneeling beside him. "Some things are too heavy to carry," Corin said softly. "Memories can bind or free us. Sometimes forgetting is the only way forward." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small hourglass, its sands swirling upward instead of down. "Time flows oddly here," he said. "And you, Wren, are caught between its currents." Wren's eyes narrowed. "You know my name." Corin chuckled. "I know many things. Og, knowledge comes at a price." Suddenly, the river's surface shimmered. From the depths, faint images, flickered faces she almost recognized, places she'd never visited, moments she could not place. Wren felt a tug in her chest, as if the river tried to pull her in, to wash away the memories she clung to. "Hold on to what you know," Corin warned, "or lose yourself to the forgetting." Wren clenched the small mirror from the grove tight, feeling its cold surface anchor. "I'm not ready to forget." Corin nodded approvingly. "Good, but not all rivers run smooth, and not all memories stay safe." He gestured toward a narrow path, winding along the riverbank, shrouded in mist. "There's someone you need to meet," he said. "A clockmaker with no time, who weaves moments into stories and stories into fate." Wren stood, steeling herself against the chill of the river and the weight of the unknown. With Corin as her unlikely guide, she stepped forward toward the mist, the river, and the next chapter of her journey. Chapter 4. The Door of Becoming. The path from the river that forgets was winding, tangled in shadows and light, like a thread pulled loose from the fabric of the world. Wren's footsteps were steady but measured, each step echoing quietly in the silence that stretched between the trees. In her hand, the small mirror from the grove of reflections felt heavier now, its cold surface pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. It was both a key and a question, an invitation and a warning. Ahead, carved into the rugged side of a mountain, was the door she'd glimpsed in the mirror. It was massive, made of dark wood veined with silver, the edges adorned with strange symbols that seemed to shift and shimmer when she was in tea looking directly. She reached out, fingers trembling as they brushed the surface. The door was cool to the touch, and a low hum vibrated through the air, like the breath of something sleeping beneath. Wren took a deep breath, steadying the swirl of thoughts in her mind. What lay beyond? What truths waited to be uncovered? Could she face them? The shadow and light entwined. The door creaked open before she could decide, revealing a chamber bathed in shifting light and shadow. Be inside. Time felt fluid. Moments stretched and folded back on themselves like ribbons. From the depths of the chamber, a figure stepped forward. It was the woman from the grove, her mirrored eyes holding all the reflections Wren had seen. Hope, fear, courage, doubt. "Welcome, Wren," she said softly. "You have walked through shadows and faced the river of forgetting. Now you stand before becoming." Wren's heart pounded. What must I do? "Choose," the woman said. "Choose who you will be. The girl who fears the unknown, or the one who embraces it. Toe the one who forgets, or the one who remembers. The one who waits, or the one who walks forward." The chamber shimmered, showing scenes from Wren's journey. Each choice, each mirror, each fleeting moment. Wren felt the weight of all possibilities pressing down on her, 1,000 paths branching into infinity. She looked at the small mirror in her hand, its surface glowing faintly now. The door behind her was closed, but she felt no desire to turn back. With a steady voice, she whispered, "I choose to become." Light flooded the chamber, wrapping around her like a cloak. The woman smiled, a smile both sad and full of hope. As you become, you will change the story. Not just yours, but all stories yet told." Wren stepped forward, the light enveloping her, and for a moment she was everywhere and nowhere, a flicker in the endless dance of possibility. When the light faded, the mountain door was gone. The forest stood silent, waiting for the next story to unfold. And Wren. She was no longer just a girl who wandered through mirrors. She was a keeper of stories, a weaver of futures, a light in the endless night.